don't necessarily want to be on reality TV. You know, like I said, I never thought about being on a reality TV show. I always thought about just being in movies and you know, I really want to be in a movie where I can just be myself as Tanya, or not even as Tanya.
This is for real, y'all. So let's do this. We know what we gotta do. Sometimes we gotta suck it up. You ain't gotta be her best friend.
It's hard, just knowing that, especially when we're all together, because sometimes when you film one-on-one with others, that happens.
Guys, this is gonna hit different. We all know Little Women Atlanta had its fair share of drama, right? But here's the twist. What happened behind the scenes is even crazier. The cast is finally spilling the truth, and it's way more shocking than anything we saw on TV. From producers pushing them too hard to dealing with real mental stress and being taken advantage of, these women didn't just leave with drama, they left with scars. You won't believe what they're revealing now. Stick around, because this story is just getting started, and trust me, you'll want to hear every detail. Let's start with the juicy stuff, and no, I'm not talking about Miss Juicy. The show was notorious for its explosive feuds and wild confrontations, but what if I told you those moments weren't entirely organic? Yeah, cast members have revealed some shocking behind-the-scenes details about how producers allegedly pushed them to stir up drama in exchange for screen time. Multiple sources say that cast members were pressured to fake fights or risk being written off the show. If you've watched the show, you know how tense things would get between the cast, especially with those iconic arguments between Miss Juicy and Ms. Minnie.
I'm doing anything that I want to do.
Is there a problem?
Your problem is you need to stay back over
No,
there with
I'm
your
stay
little
right
friend.
here. I'm
Why
gonna
would
stay
I
right
argue
here.
with you over
I'm gonna
that?
stay right here. I'm gonna stay
You know
right
what?
here.
I don't have time for that.
But what if those moments were staged? Industry insiders have compared the tactics used to get the cast to fight to shows like Bad Girls Club and Love and Hip Hop. These reality TV powerhouses are notorious for creating drama for ratings, even if it means manipulating the cast. Some cast members have even spoken out about real-life injuries and trauma that occurred when fights weren't just for show anymore.
Oh, wait a minute! It's just one of me!
And if you think the drama was just part of the job, think again. Some of the cast were forced to be on edge, constantly walking that thin line between real tension and fake beefs. It's a lot harder than it looks when your livelihood depends on playing a role that's not entirely yours. Let's talk money or lack of it. Despite the show's major success, some cast members were paid way less than you'd expect. Some even had to pick up second jobs just to make ends meet while filming. Leaked contracts reveal how restrictive these deals were, with clauses that allegedly prevented cast members from pursuing outside income, leaving them trapped in an exploitative cycle.
I got a real job that I'm about to go to.
I do have a real job.
Where I get paid.
Bye, hating ass bitch. That's the devil.
If that wasn't bad enough, the producers didn't seem to care much about the mental health of the cast. In fact, several cast members felt manipulated, with producers more interested in ratings than their well-being. So, were they exploited for entertainment? The evidence suggests yeah. And we all know reality TV is stressful, but the mental toll it took on the Little Women Atlanta cast was way worse than anyone expected. Anxiety, depression, and constant stress? Yeah, those were the real battles. And here's the kicker. Producers allegedly didn't offer any mental health support during or after filming. One cast member even allegedly checked into a mental health facility during a filming break. Can you imagine being under that much scrutiny, constantly having your life aired out for millions to watch? And let's not forget Miss Juicy and Money Cachette, who've both been super vocal about how challenging fame was for their mental health. The constant trolling, the hateful comments, it was like living in a psychological war zone. The emotional strain was real, y'all.
Lost my mother. You don't care. I lost my mom. But I'm saying that's what care about.
Now, one of the biggest downfalls of being on Little Women Atlanta was the impact it had on the cast's real-life relationships. A lot of people don't realize that the romantic storylines on reality TV are often fabricated. So imagine being in a real relationship and watching your partner flirt with someone else on screen because of a scripted storyline. That's exactly what happened to one cast member who allegedly discovered her partner's infidelity after seeing it air on the show. The Tiny twins, Amanda and Andrea, also had their share of love drama, with one sister involved in a messy on-again, off-again relationship. Meanwhile, Monty Cachette's marriage and eventual divorce were at the center of her storyline. But it wasn't all fake. She was genuinely struggling. Watching her marriage unfold in front of millions was tough, and the emotional strain of having her private life dissected by the public made everything even worse.
Years under divorce, just whoop, it's gone. It's a wrap. and enjoying every bit of my peace.
In true reality TV style, friendships weren't much better. The famous fallouts between Miss Juicy and Ms. Minnie were heartbreaking, especially after Minnie's untimely passing. While the show continued on without her, many cast members, including Miss Juicy and Moni, admitted that they struggled to process her death, especially after seeing her funeral aired in the final season. But even more devastating were the fractured friendships, like Moni's complicated relationship with Miss Juicy that seemed to drag on after the camera stopped rolling. And have you ever watched those heart-to-heart moments and wondered, are they for real? Well, sometimes nope. Cast members have revealed that some friendships were literally forced for the sake of a storyline. Producers allegedly manipulated the cast into feigning friendships or even convinced them to hate someone for more drama. So yeah, those heated arguments we saw, a lot of it was scripted chaos. Behind the scenes, these cast members were often pushed into uncomfortable situations that left them emotionally drained.
This is not fair.
Since they call you little bitches! Since they call you little bitches! This is not the place or the time for it!
Stop!
And that's not the only thing that came to light. Allegedly, the work conditions on Little Women Atlanta were downright unsafe for the reality stars, and some of them even got injured in the process. It seems like the show might have been cutting corners when it came to the safety of its cast, and the fallout from that could have been disastrous. Production allegedly refused to adjust sets to accommodate cast members with dwarfism, which, I mean, is just mind-blowing. We're talking about a show that centers on individuals with dwarfism, and yet basic changes to the set were reportedly ignored. Instead, cast members had to work in an environment that wasn't designed for their physical needs, leading to injuries and, at the very least, a lot of unnecessary stress. Then there's the really shady part, leaked emails that suggest the production crew ignored multiple safety complaints. Imagine that. People asking for safer conditions and those complaints just getting brushed aside. One cast member reportedly slipped and fell during a scene, and get this, there were no medics on site to help. That's a huge red flag right there.
Ready? You turn the car on. Ah! What?
Wait a minute.
And if you thought it couldn't get worse, well, it does. A former crew member who worked on the show allegedly said the conditions were so bad, they described it as a lawsuit waiting to happen. That's a huge admission. If people on the inside are calling it a disaster just waiting to unfold, that's a major problem. Now here's the part that adds a whole other level to the story. Rumor has it that a major R&B singer, someone with serious industry connections, privately reached out to one of the Little Women Atlanta stars with a warning. The alleged message? Get out while you still can. This wasn't just some casual piece of advice. It sounds like a real wake-up call. The question is, who was behind the message? Speculation points to Kandi Burruss, the Real Housewives of Atlanta star, with ties to Bravo, the network that aired Little Women Atlanta. Kandi's been in the reality TV game long enough to know how brutal it can be, so it wouldn't be a shock if she stepped in to offer some guidance. After all, reality TV can be toxic, and if someone like Kandi saw the signs, it makes sense she'd try to warn the cast.
We're forced to be around each other, so, you know, it's just constant, you know. And it's getting worse and worse and worse.
And it doesn't stop there. Little Women Atlanta and other shows like it have faced a ton of criticism. A lot of people say that these kinds of reality shows might actually make stereotypes worse and care more about creating drama than showing the real lives of the cast. Is the focus really on telling their true stories? Or is it just about getting the most shocking moments to keep people watching? For example, back in 2017, Refinery 29 came out with an article asking, is the show just using its cast for drama instead of telling their real, meaningful stories? This isn't just one opinion. Lots of people feel like these shows focus way more on making things dramatic and less on showing what these stars are really like. It's entertainment, but at whose expense? And it doesn't end there. In 2019, Desiree Lindsay posted a blog about Little Women, Dallas, and she had some strong things to say. She called the show voyeuristic, meaning it's more about watching people's private lives for entertainment than actually telling their stories. She also pointed out how the show sometimes makes the cast seem X-rated and racialized, like they're shown in a way that's meant to stir up drama, not to respect them. It's not just about them being real people. It's about making a show people will talk about. That's where things start to feel wrong. Not everyone agrees with this. Tara Holay, who who is a big name in the show, spoke up for it. In 2019, she told Page Six that even though being famous on reality TV is tough, the show has actually helped more people notice and accept little people. She said the show made people with dwarfism more visible, which helped get rid of some of the stigma. While this is a good point, the way it's done still makes people question whether it's respectful enough. Some people who have watched the show feel pretty uncomfortable with how it all plays out. Even people who watched the whole 2 seasons have said it feels predatory and disrespectful. For one, many of the girls on the show are barely under 21, with some even younger, and the show includes sensitive content just to make the drama more exciting. It's clear that the producers know how to make things explode just for the shock factor. There's also the way the show treats the little people community. It's disrespectful. They are shown in ways that don't help people understand their real lives, but instead just make them look like entertainment for others. Hollis Andrews, who was supposed to be one of the stars on Little Women, LA, even quit the show because she felt it was mistreating little people in Hollywood. She felt that the way people with dwarfism were being treated wasn't right, and honestly, it's hard to argue with her. No one should have to deal with that just to be on TV. Now that the cameras are off, what are the Little Women Atlanta cast doing today? Some of them have managed to maintain a relatively low-key life, while others have continued to chase the fame that the show brought them. Miss Juicy remains a media personality, always flaunting that iconic catchphrase, "It's Miss Juicy, baby." Meanwhile, the Tiny Twins have focused on their influencer careers, continuing to stir up drama on social media. Money, on the other hand, has used her platform to speak out on issues close to her heart, leaving the reality TV drama behind. But for many of the cast, the scars of Little Women Atlanta will never fully heal. The emotional, physical, and financial toll of being on a reality show has left many with lingering questions about exploitation and the price of fame. So, what do you think? Were the women of Little Women Atlanta taken advantage of by the show? Do you think the producers went too far? Or was it all part of the reality TV game? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the juicy updates. Trust me, this saga is just getting started, and I'll be right here bringing you the latest.